Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we pit two or more fictional characters against each other in a battle of strength, or wits, or a non-standard number of faces, and see who wins. This week, Mystique versus The Question. The streets of Gotham City have always been known to be mean, and therefore the GCPD are unsurprised when a businesswoman ends up on a slab in the morgue. True, her apartment showed no signs of forced entry, and her body didn't sport any signs of having put up a fight before she was killed, but that just meant that whoever put her down was someone she had trusted. Not exactly a unique occurrence, and officers are already beginning to bring in some of her friends and family members for questioning. Speaking of questions, someone else in Gotham is also monitoring the situation, although she has come to a very different conclusion. Renee Montoya may have left the GCPD some years ago, but she still seeks justice in a way that she never could as an officer of the law, beneath the faceless mask of the Question. Montoya is particularly interested in the murder of this businesswoman because of the similarities between this case and another earlier this week, when a jet setter from out of town was murdered in his hotel room, again with no signs of intrusion or struggle. Due to the non-existent communication between different precincts in the GCPD, no one in the department has made a connection between these two cases, but Montoya has, and she does some digging. Montoya's suspicions are correct. The two murder victims were both two of the most powerful movers and shakers in the criminal underworld of the island nation of Madripoor. What she doesn't know yet is that there are 5 more such figures in Gotham City now, and all of them are being similarly targeted by Raven Darkholm, the shapeshifting mutant supervillain known as Mystique. Mystique has been taking large strides toward becoming the criminal kingpin of Madripoor, and now only these 7 figures could possibly oppose her. With all 7 targets in Gotham City, a city at its most chaotic ever in the wake of Batman's recent disappearance, Mystique will never have a better opportunity to create a power vacuum that she herself will gladly fill. But while Batman may not be able to oppose her, Gotham is not without its defenders. The Question has seen a pattern and will be working to intercept Mystique before she can complete her devious plan. Can the Question manage to stop, catch, or kill the shape-shifting sister of the Brotherhood of Mutants? Or will Mystique finish off all 7 targets and escape Gotham to begin her new life as the crime queen of Madripoor? Well, it turns out that my whole claim to fame as a comic book expert all these years has just been an elaborate disguise, so I, Dan Mulcairn, will sit and listen patiently as a bunch of nerds yell at each other about this whole sitch. Advocating for Mystique are Kit Mulcairn and our special returning guest host, Anton Belaine.
Kit?
Yes, Anton?
What do you want to be called nowadays? Still Lady Mulcairn?
What's wrong with Lady Mulcairn?
It seems sexist. They don't call Dan Dude Mulcairn.
Yeah, it always kind of rubbed me the wrong ways. Maybe I should hyphenate.
Okay. Well, from now on, I'm definitely being called Dude Mulcairn. Advocating for the Question are Megan Bob.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of Smash Fiction.
And our other special returning guest host, Madeline Thomas.
The only question you have to ask yourself is, do you think you'll survive? Well, do you, punk?
In order to determine who goes first this week, I designed a charming and elaborate death trap in the style of the 1966 Adam West Batman TV series, and then strapped each of the advocates to it to see who could escape first. Team Question managed to reach their utility belts first and use their bat-sonic screwdrivers to turn off the trap remotely, but Team Mystique was horribly murdered. Whoops. Even when charming and elaborate, a death trap is still a death trap. Anyway, that's why the good Lord invented life model decoys, so Team Question will be going first, followed by the identical duplicates of Team Mystique.
Who am I?
Team Question, answer.
Renee Montoya is exactly who you would and should hire for this case. With countless accounts of finding people, sometimes halfway across the world, her record should speak for itself. She is a highly trained detective with a background in investigative work and has a stubborn streak that pushes always forward into finding the answers. Even when it seems like she's lost, she finds a way through. In Batwoman Detective Comics, she not only tracks down a missing girl, but when she is kidnapped, she escapes and proceeds to track down and subdue her kidnappers. Her intuitiveness is evident throughout her comic book career. For being the only one who recognizes Nightwing as the new Batman, to uncovering double agents, her skills are unsurpassed. With her work uncovering corruption in the police force and tracking down an assassin trying to kill Gordon, it's no wonder the Question recruited her. The Question persona itself is all about investigation, intrigue, and nabbing the bad guy. If Vic Sage, I'd argue the king of finding the answers, handpicked Montoya to be the Question, I'd say you couldn't find anyone better at investigation and intrigue.
Mystique is sort of a C- in getting things done. She frequently fucks up her own plans for success, and rarely does she get done what she sets out to do. She fails at the planned assassination of Senator Kelly, fails to kill Legion, fails to save her son Graydon because she herself kills Graydon, I guess. A mission to raid a government base failed, while with the new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, she tried to seduce Phantom X while in disguise as Psylocke and fails at that. She's thinking about who to kill to gain control of the Evil Brotherhood and gets led into an ambush. She tries to sow discord in Cyclops, and when that plot gets discovered, she opts to hide out in S.H.I.E.L.D. as Dazzler, the roller skating superhero being a natural choice. She tries to kill Bobby Drake 4 times and doesn't manage it. Even when she gets fancy and tries to fake plans to throw people off, it blows up in her face. She pretends to kill Xavier in order to throw the Quiet Man off her trail. And the whole X crew thought she was trying to kill Xavier for realsies and came after her. Oh my god, who would not see that coming? Mystique has a past so checkered that it could be a tablecloth in a cliche Italian restaurant. And she didn't think that they might suspect her? A for effort, I guess.
If that weren't enough, in Gotham, Montoya has a home field advantage. Not only does she have ties with the Batman family, i.e. Batwoman and Nightwing, but she has many trusted friends and allies in the police force. Commissioner Gordon would inform Montoya of anything she could possibly use to try to track down Mystique, and he has the backing of the entire police force. And if that weren't enough, her former partner Harvey Bullock has many ties with the crime bosses of Gotham. The gang leaders could be a phone call away, and then it's a simple matter of waiting for Mystique to show up. With Montoya's finger on the pulse of Gotham this well situated, there could not be a place Mystique could hide. And with Montoya's investigative skills, there couldn't be anyone she could imitate and get away with it. I know you're asking yourself, Montoya will be able to find her, but can she get her arrested? Mystique gets arrested all the time, in her depowered state and also in her powered state. She's arrested by the government when falsely accused of trying to blow up a dam. She's arrested for being hospitalized with a stab wound. Later, she's in custody and almost executed by the Department of Homeland Security for her numerous crimes, and is only saved by Xavier's willingness to work with her. If Homeland fucking Security can get Mystique, even the chuckle-fuckiest of Gotham cops can take her down, let alone the Question.
Mystique's most powerful skill is shapeshifting, and it's pretty outstanding, but her shapeshifting comes at a price. Mystique's shapeshifting physiology causes her brain to suffer from constant and subtle shifts in her brain tissue that manifested in a form of schizophrenia. So her personality is always changing, making her volatile and unpredictable. She loses her marbles several times, and once it's from being pursued by Spiral. Imagine how unstable she's gonna be when a faceless badass in a fedora is on her tail. Even when she's in her right mind, she's a terrible decision maker. I'm only gonna point out 2 instances. The first is what the fuck level. She panics at the birth of Nightcrawler and dumps her newborn, still sticky, infant, leaving him to be raised by wolves or whatever. Except that's not what happened. She transforms into a villager and tossed the newborn down a ravine. The other highlight is, what the fucked updest. She tries to seduce Gambit to prove that he's not good enough for Rogue. Then when Gambit still refuses to cheat on Rogue, she reveals herself and says, I'm just here to help relieve the sexual tension. It's not cheating if you do me while I look like Rogue. Oh yeah, definitely a gray area there. The point is not that Mystique is a terrible person. That's immaterial. The point is that when she doesn't like a situation, or she just thinks it's the best plan for getting her way, she makes the worst decisions imaginable. And the addendum to that is that she always wants her way. This leaves her open to mistakes of every stripe, and to getting tangled in her own plans. Do you know how the police catch people? It's not because the police are magical precogs. It's because they find the place where a perpetrator made a mistake and then they follow that trail. Mystique leaves so many trails, she may as well become a park ranger.
Renee Montoya, on the other hand, is on top of it. She's not switching sides or reassessing her needs and whims. She's focused on the task at hand, as opposed to the scattershot Mystique. To top it all off, she has a huge advantage over Mystique: control over her emotions. Whereas Mystique continuously lets her emotions control her, often acting irrationally and seemingly without thought, Question is all about using your opponent's anger against them. She recognizes the anger in herself and learns to control it. That is apparent when she quits the police force after going too far. With amazing teachers like Vic Sage and Richard Dragon, she learns to control her anger and even uses it to her advantage. Richard Dragon being one of the top martial artists in the DC universe, known for his use of Eastern philosophy and using an opponent's recklessness against themselves. We see this in The Blackest Night, when she even is able to trick Vic Sage into thinking she's not there by literally controlling her emotions. She has a strong will of mind and can face tough circumstances clearly and calmly, something I'm sure Mystique couldn't even fathom. For Renee Montoya, this match wouldn't be about Mystique or about her powers. It will be entirely about solving the case and catching the perp. And when she catches her, all it'll take is a calm mind and a bullet. Rogue, unstable with grief and rage, manages to attack Mystique and send her crawling to a hospital using nothing but bone claws that she's not even used to wielding. The Question has a lot more firepower than that on her side. This fight won't be pretty, but in the end, the Question will have her up against the wall.
Her. Thank you, Team Question. Nicely done. Now we're moving on to the Blue Woman group, Team Mystique.
What can I say about Mystique? Her name alone commands an immeasurable degree of fear, wonder, and loathing amongst the denizens of the Marvel Universe. And that's with her mutant code name, and not her Homo sapien name, Raven Darkholme, the most metal name in comics ever.
Yeah.
While she won't be getting any World's Greatest Mom coffee mugs anytime soon, see Nightcrawler, see Rogue, see Great and Creed. This morally ambiguous mutant supremacist is a master, mistress, whatever, is it per now? Yeah, person of disguise and stealth, effortlessly using her shape-shifting ability to blend in and out of crowds to evade pursuers. Having lived for almost 200 years, she's also had quite a wealth of experience to hone her skills. As revealed in the Wolverine series, she met the late James Howlett III, Logan Wolverine, insert name here, and joined his gang of ne'er-do-wells, committing crimes ranging from grand larceny to casual homicide. She also worked as an assassin for hire with Sabretooth in World War II Germany. Hunting down specific targets and taking them out with ruthless precision isn't new to her. For years, she posed as a government employee working for the Department of Defense until she became the deputy director of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which gave her access to military secrets and weaponry. She would have succeeded in stealing a doomsday device from S.H.I.E.L.D. if it wasn't for that pesky Carol Danvers, but it's okay. Like any loving mother, she just let her adopted daughter Rogue put that heifer in a coma. Whatever. Oh, and she's replaced and impersonated people like Valerie Cooper, Charles Xavier, Moira McTaggart, and even Dazzler. Good God, the things she did to Dazzler led the poor girl to maim her hair and go through another emo phase. For extended periods of time, maintaining her disguise, going on undetected for weeks or months, and playing the long con until the time is ripe for her to strike or weaponize a strain of the legacy virus that also kills humans, or burn the house down and casually just walk away to a badass soundtrack. Hashtag just Mystique things. Sometime in recent years, she was revived by that ninja death cult, The Hand, and her powers have been enhanced to where she is capable of changing her scent to match the form she takes. You know, in case Renee Montoya gets any bright ideas of hiring a Wolverine of some sort to help track her down. Wait, does the DC Universe even have a Wolverine? Mystique has no problem blending in an environment seething with corruption, and there isn't a den fouler and rife with sin and iniquity in the DC universe like Gotham City. Murdering the remaining crime leaders of Madripoor and nonchalantly escaping the scene of the crime? Piece of cake. Advantage Mystique. She's also a brilliant strategist and master manipulator. She knows how to get people to do what she wants, like when she pretended to be a mutant named Fox in order to seduce Gambit and break up his relationship with Rogue, because Mother knows best. And while her loyalties often force her to form politically advantageous and often politically expedient alliances, I mean, why else have Sabretooth time and again agreeing to work with or under her?
Under her.
Yes. She's worked with Magneto time and again, who she often clashes with ideologically. She's worked with Xavier time and again, who she often clashes with ideologically. She's constantly had at least one telepath at her employ, currently Lady Mastermind, to, cover her tracks. Let's see, does the DC Universe have Omega-level telepaths like Emma Frost and Xavier? I don't think so. She's teamed up with Magneto, Norman Osborn, Deadpool, Apocalypse, the Juggernaut, Mr. Sinister, the Weapon Plus program, Daki Nakahiro, the United States government, and even the X-Men. Oh, and remember when she hoodwinked Charles Xavier into amending his last will and testament and leaving the mansion in her capable hands? To quote the unbelievably stylish Emma Frost. Wait, what? Fantastic. That is the best thing I have ever heard. Oh my god. He married Mystique?
No one can make Emma Frost laugh except Mystique.
She's also been instrumental in orchestrating the best revenge against Wolverine ever. Remember that time when she helped Akihiro track down all of his father's illegitimate children throughout the centuries, gather them in one place, help them send Wolverine to hell, let him return and kill them off one by one before finally revealing in pure sadistically Shakespearean fashion, guess what, bub? You just murdered all your bastards. She's led numerous incarnations of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and the government-sponsored team of thugs known as Freedom Force, and that one-time X-Factor was under the government's payroll. Yes, she's failed to assassinate Senator Robert Kelly, but that was undone by wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. But remember, killing off Moira McTaggart, that's remained permanent as far as I'm concerned. As far as we're concerned, no retcons here. I feel bad for any unnamed sod that has had the misfortune of being in her way. Norman Osborn and Charles Xavier could barely keep her down, and that was with the threat of blowing her to pieces with nanite explosives, a la Thunderbolts and Suicide Squad. And even then, she found ways around that. Simply put, Mystique knows how to be the snake hiding in the grass, biding her time, yet poised to strike at any moment. And her bite is deadly.
Renee Montoya is a good detective, and a good question, but her greatest achievements were all accomplished with the help of other heroes, typically other members of the Bat family. Taking down the Golden Portal cult, she was helped by Batman and Knight Runner. Stopping Vandal Savage's human trafficking network, helped by Huntress at Oracle. I could go on, but Dan's strict with his time limits and lists are his thing, so yeah, I'm gonna keep going. So here's what's up. Of course she's assisted by these top-notch heroes because, let's face it, pause for laughter at brilliant pun.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
And moving on. She just can't really handle supers on her own. She helps the Bat family, but she's not at their level. And nothing really makes that more apparent than the number of times that she is kidnapped and or just plain has to be rescued. In Batwoman Detective Comics, she takes on a very low-powered case, one of a missing girl involved in child pornography. While investigating a man she believes is involved, she's straight up kidnapped and left to die in the trunk of a car that's being driven into a river. If her kidnappers hadn't taken such a roundabout way of trying to off her, DC would have had to find yet another question. In the Half-Alive storyline of Gotham Central, Montoya is kidnapped by Two-Face's goons and is ultimately saved by Batman. Before Two-Face has her kidnapped, however, he plots to completely destroy her life so that she'll have nothing left but his two-toned dick.
Ugh. Ugh. God. Did not like that mental image.
He has Montoya tailed by a private investigator who photographs her kissing another woman. And she doesn't realize this has been done until the photos are posted up in Gotham City PD headquarters, outing her to many a homophobic coworker. And Two-Face reveals that he too was stalking Montoya for some time. If the question is so unaware of her surroundings that multiple people can follow her over the course of several days without her noticing, how is she supposed to realize when an ultra-skilled, ruthless, shape-shifting assassin with oh so many decades of assassing under her belt has decided to come for her? Because that's what's gonna happen. And if Montoya does in fact figure out who Mystique's marks are and begins to interfere, suddenly nowhere is safe. If you've ever seen Jessica Jones, you know that feeling of anxiety and dread when the protagonists are walking around in a public space, surrounded by strangers, knowing that any one of them could be an assassin? When you take on a shapeshifter, the game changes. The question better be cool with Solitude, because she won't be able to trust anyone. There is nothing Mystique won't do to achieve her goals, and no one that she wouldn't deceive or kill to reach them.
Okay. Point of order. Anton, Raven Darkholm is indeed a very metal name. I would argue that perhaps Vandal Savage is a slightly more metal name, but it's certainly a matter of inches in that particular game.
No,
so
fuck Vandal Savage.
Just a point of order. This does not rule in any way for or against Mystique. Just wanted it to be clear. You mentioned she had the most metal name. I mean, obviously John Henry Irons is also a pretty metal name. But I digress.
Medals.
A vicious round of opening arguments so far, and I'm sure that our advocates are ready and raring to tear into each other, so let's move on to rebuttals, starting with Team Question.
So one thing that you guys were mentioning is that you didn't think that sort of she would be able to handle this. I think that she is going to have an entire fucking dossier on Mystique. How long has Mystique been around?
200 years.
Yeah. I would imagine there is a fairly thick file on her. And she is going to know every goddamn thing about her whenever she goes to find her.
Under the auspices of President Trump, getting freedom of information will be very terrible. What's your badge number? Yeah, 6-month wait to get on the 10-month wait.
With her last name, that may be even more problematic under this particular administration.
Exactly.
You really think, like, the Batman crew wouldn't, like, give her a dossier as well? Really? I mean,
I'm sure they have their own private dossier. They're rich
Exactly.
enough. They have their own private dossier room where they age the dossiers.
I mean, if Batman has like an entire folder for each of the crew members he's working with, I can't imagine how many like eons of folders he has on all of the villains that he knows about.
He's a weird man.
Here's another
Yes.
slowdown, though. I mean, even if you did find the information, even if you have dossiers among dossiers, Mystique still has like 5 people to kill. So Question has to run around on her own because in this match, she's not directly getting assisted by any of her Bat friends. How is she going to anticipate who Mystique is going to kill next? How's she going to keep herself from walking into Mystique traps once Mystique realizes that someone is in the way?
Is the Question going to murder every bellhop that tries to ring the doorbell? I don't think Renee Montoya is the shoot first, ask questions later type of person.
No, she's more of the tie to a chair and interrogate vigorously.
Yeah.
Yeah, being tied to a chair is a great way to take care of Mystique.
Yeah, she's gonna shapeshift out of that.
They were talking about how Montoya continuously needs help, but that's only really in the beginning of her becoming the Question. I mean, once she gets more established, once you get to like Blackest Night and Batman Incorporated, she's more on her own. So actually it's more of a learning curve. Eventually she's on her own and she can do just as much.
In those stories, isn't she more assisting another larger hero instead of... I think she's almost like a little bit closer to Oracle. She's more like a much more mobile Oracle in that way. Like a low-powered bat person is kind of the vibe I get off of this Question.
Most of her powers are more focused on brainwashing than they are on like taking on big baddies, but I would imagine that even in a circumstance like that, she'd be able to use her better possession of her mental faculties that obviously Mystique doesn't have in order to take her down.
All right, thank you, Team Question. We are moving on now to Team Mystique's half of the rebuttal round. What do you guys have to say?
We're discussing current Question, right? In more recent years, with the event called Axis, the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Doom kind of reverse the, the alignments, the D&D alignments.
There it is.
The D&D alignments of all the Marvel villains and heroes for a while, and the lasting effects were on Sabretooth and Mystique, to name a few. So Mystique's mental instability, not that she's been cured, but let's just say that her alignment chart has been fixed. So I don't think we're going to have issues with her mental problems anytime soon. She is actually currently working in conjunction with Magneto's X-Men. Granted, yes, they are the hard-as-nails X-Men incarnation at the moment, but she's doing what she's doing, and she and Phantom X are doing their own little thing. I don't think she's as mentally unstable as she was back in the 90s or the early aughts.
So you're saying that this thing happened, and so now she has somehow learned to make better decisions.
Yes, and she still has her wealth of experience. Like, I don't know, I guess she somehow got guilt. I guess she got Grinch.
Oh no,
She
all
got
those
Grinch.
children. Oh no.
And
It's not a
wait,
guilt.
that doesn't sound like that's going to be in her favor. That sounds like that is the landing of 190 years worth of shit landing on her fucking shoulders.
So many babies at the bottom of that German ravine.
I think she sleeps well at night knowing that Kurt is alive and Rogue is okay.
And
Well,
screw that
no
other
thanks to
son.
mommy.
Fuck him. He wasn't a mutant. Fuck him. But yeah, any amount of cray-cray that is still within Mystique, honestly, if anything, unpredictability is the enemy of a detective. PIs look for patterns, not chaos. So I think Mystique can work with that.
I think that the pattern is going to come from who she's killing. Like,
Yes,
that's
for
not,
sure.
that is its own pattern. So however she's doing it doesn't matter. Once the dots are connected about who she's killing, then we have a pattern. Beyond that, it's just a matter of filling in dots. Does one fill in a dot?
But Renee Montoya is going to be so paranoid because Mystique can be anybody at this point, and how can she suss out who Mystique is disguised at?
Every contact you have could be Mystique.
I gotta say, like, you don't choose to become a cop because you like safety. You choose it because you're like some sort of weird thrill junkie. If anything, this is gonna give her like a life boner to go, oh,
Yeah,
this is the scariest it's ever been.
Oh yeah, and
Honestly-
the question persona itself is all about, being able to get there and find the answers. A challenge like this, like Mystique would be, Montoya, rather than being terrified of the prospect, would probably be enjoying every single minute of this.
I
It
kind
is
of
the
have to agree with you
cocaine
with the
of-
thrill
of
junkie thing.
cases.
The amount of times that she has to be saved by other heroes would definitely imply that she gets herself into way too much trouble. I don't know if it's worth rehashing, but she did kill Kelly and wibbly wobbly, timey wimey shit, fix that. But I think that's a testament to how good of an assassin you are, that people had to travel back in time to stop you. You done assassinated, and they were like, fuck, I guess we should fix that.
I mean, she's never been up against somebody who doesn't have a fucking face.
I wonder if that's true.
She can change her face, but can she have none?
I'm flipping
She
through
can
my
definitely have none.
I'm flipping through my Rolodex of X-Men characters, and I can't think of any.
There
faceless-
is an uncanny X-Force arc where they have the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and wasn't his name the Faceless Man, and he literally had no face?
I do remember that. Yeah.
See, that's just gross.
Obscure.
He was flayed from head to toe, but
Oh no!
Oh yeah, that was a gross arc. Anyway, let's move away from that.
What is this episode? Why
man.
is this so gross?
Oh, man. All right. What a match so far. There's been deviousness, deception, and detective work, the likes of which no one has seen before. And ultimately, these two women have ended up face to void on a Gotham City rooftop. Threats are yelled, quips are snarked, and fists are raised. Cue the lightning round.
I forgot I'm supposed to be scared.
Okay,
Fuck
good.
you, Zeus! You'll
You know, I
never
don't-
take me!
I don't need your pity screams, Kit. As the two women begin to engage in a vicious and fiery match of hand-to-hand combat, Mystique decides to get under Montoya's skin. She's learned a bit of Montoya's background since the Question started pursuing her, and Mystique shifts forms rapidly, starting with Crispus Allen, Montoya's former partner in the GCPD, then becoming Kate Batwoman Kane, one of Montoya's past flames, and then Vic Sage, Montoya's mentor and predecessor as the Question. Montoya is irritated, but maintains her focus despite Mystique's taunts. Eventually, the shapeshifter decides to transform into Montoya herself as their battle builds towards a climax. However, that climax never arrives. The rooftop battle is suddenly illuminated in...
Aw, that makes me sad.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank you, Ghost Miles.
I guess I'll do that again.
Miles, did you forget you're not on this podcast?
I'm sorry, I had to comment on that. Liz isn't here.
I was anticipating someone commenting on it. I was just hoping it was someone who was officially in this match. All right. The rooftop battle is suddenly illuminated in an emerald light. The two now identical figures blink up at the shining figure now hovering above them. Jessica Cruz, Earth's newest Green Lantern. Cruz had heard that Batman had gone missing and made it a point to regularly patrol Gotham City in his absence, and here she finds the Question engaged in a heated battle with... herself? Cruz has seen enough movies and TV to know a huge trope when she sees it, and she correctly guesses that one of them is an imposter, but her ring can't seem to tell her which one is the real deal. It comes down to Mystique and Montoya. Can Montoya convince Jessica Cruz of her innocence? Or will Mystique pull the wool over the greenest of Lantern's eyes and fool her into carting off the Question to space jail? Team Question went first in the main round, so Team Mystique will be starting us off in the lightning round.
so Mystique starts spouting off some like conspiracy theories about the DC universe, like how this guy called Ozymandias and Dr. Manhattan are currently like messing with the timelines and everything's going crazy. And she needs to bring Jessica Cruz to her hideout and show her all this like beautiful mind connected thought, like crazy theories that she has about like how Batman's Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. And Jessica Cruz is just like, okay, yeah, you're the real one, taking the other one. Because no one can out crazy or out dramatic Mystique, and if you try to out crazy her, she will kill herself and then kill you.
So you're saying that her strategy is to be crazier than the Question.
Yes, she's gonna start like spouting stuff off of the Breitbart report.
That is a very high risk maneuver, sir, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I was gonna say, Jessica
no,
Cruz is gonna go,
I'm gonna
I have
say-
to put you down for the sake of humanity.
I totally agree with Anton. I feel like Mystique is really good at looking into the people she copies. And, you know, we've kind of established that by this point, she probably figured out that the Question was following her. I mean, the fact that they're like, they've got the fisticuffs out now and everything. So, yeah, I think she knows enough about Question's crazy and all the past Questions crazy that she can bullshit her way to being Question. Better than Question.
That remains to be seen. Team Question, what do you guys have to say? Can you prove that you are the real Question?
I mean, wouldn't it just be simpler to take off the mask and hand it to her?
Okay, that's an interesting tactic.
Literally, if she hands the mask to Green Lantern, I mean, Mystique may be all-powerful and wonderful, but she can't hand pieces of herself to Green Lantern.
She just hands this drippy, bloody mask.
That's my...
Ooh. This is the gruesomest one. Let's assume that she couldn't even do that. She's practical, deeply practical. I think it is as simple as turning to the Green Lantern, who has a name.
Yep, Jessica Cruz is her name.
Saying, Jessica Cruz. Okay, so many Jessicas.
I know.
Okay, turning to Jessica Cruz and saying, all right, fair enough. Let me tell you what is in a particular drawer in Harvey Bullock's desk. Because that is the kind of shit you find out about your partner. And it's probably something that Harvey has tried very, very, very hard to keep a secret. Now, I'm not saying I know what it is, but I am very certain that the question does, and that very few people know about it.
I'm gonna guess it's probably cigars and spare fedoras, given what I know about Harvey Bullock.
Oh, I mean, that's the tip of a very greasy and unkempt iceberg.
Unshaven iceberg.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mystique did some digging around and got his like recent search engine hits, and it's like a men's rights forum.
Oh no!
Oh, how dare you? Are you kidding? Harvey probably doesn't even know what the internet is.
Yeah, that I'd argue that point too.
All very good points. Jessica Cruz has made her choice and encased one of these two figures in a tethered force field before flying off into the night sky. The remaining figure, who looks an awful lot like the question, stands on the Gotham rooftop and watches as the green light disappears before she takes off her mask and reveals a conveniently timed cliffhanger intermission.
I gotta read more Jessica Cruz stuff. She looks dope. I mean, honestly, I am really tired of Green Lanterns from Earth. Why are there so many from Earth?
This one has the Ring of Volthoom.
Well, there you go. I mean, and also lady. Finally, a lady Green Lantern.
A lady lantern.
With a crazy ring.
Yes.
I hope they continue to play this up, because not only did she just inherit any Green Lantern ring, she's got the ring that's like, kill everyone! Kill your team! Kill everyone!
That is your favorite type of character.
If this is a meet cute, so say like Dan's premise is a meet cute, how does this whole meet cute go down? Like, what is the arc of their relationship now? I'm typing it out as we speak.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. This is like a story type, right? A meet cute.
Yeah, that's something, that like, oh, somebody took your drink at the coffee shop. But instead one is pursuing the other for crimes.
Oh, wait, and who are we setting up?
Like how
are we setting up all three of them together?
And, the question. Oh, well, sure. If you want to go that route, we can.
I'd watch that.
I loved that we both brought up Mystique trying to seduce Gambit as like our point about Mystique.
It's amazing. It is unfucking believable that she was like, I don't even know who wrote it, that went like, yeah, okay, this is who I think Mystique is. And I'm like, wait, why?
No, she cray. That's perfect. She would do anything to accomplish her goals. Like that's what sold it to me more than her murdering numerous people.
Unreasonable.
They are, and she's
like
she's the worst mother. She keeps on meddling in the most inopportune times.
Yeah, when she's not trying to kill her infants.
I know, why does she want children? Just accept that you're not cut out for it and let it go.
She reminds me of like a freaking like Greek goddess. You know how like those Greek goddesses were always doing like crazy shit, like throwing babies off of cliffs?
Yes.
That is a popular pastime.
Mystique would fit perfectly in the Greek pantheon, dude. Perfectly.
Do you think she was like inspired by that? Maybe she is. Maybe she's like a female Zeus, actually.
I mean, she does sleep around a lot, so yeah. I bet she could do Swan
and then,
hard
is
enough.
A terrible parent, doesn't fucking care, just causes chaos, is like, I'm the big dick on campus, what up?
Well, that seems like an appropriate place for me to return. You were talking about a big dick on campus, and I was like, okay, well, I mean...
That's seems my like cue, says Dan.
That seems like an appropriate enough invitation to me.
The Dan stands for big dick on campus.
That's right.
Not the D, just the whole name.
One interesting thing about our situation here is that I can always hear Kit's side of whatever conversation is going on, and you guys were totally slash-ficking Jessica Cruz into this little threesome, weren't you?
Oh, I mean, I was trying to.
Okay, all right. Well,
I mean, look at her.
I mean, that's understandable. This was a really tough one to kind of try to gauge how this would happen. I've been reading a lot of Gotham Central in the lead up to this match, and what those comics tell me is that in any sort of investigation like this, there's a lot of things that go into the outcome of it, you know, and really all it would take to sway this in one person's favor or another is just like one moment of hesitation from the question or one moment of overconfidence from Mystique. And as soon as that happens, it's swinging to the other person's favor. And I can see a lot of different scenarios where one person just happens to sort of find themselves in a situation that favors them and they're able to take out their opponent quite easily or with difficulty. You know, there's any number of ways that this can go. But I think that based on the arguments I've heard, the character here who's going to require the fewest lucky breaks to achieve victory in this is Mystique. And so I think Mystique wins this one.
Dude, mother knows best.
She does, man, but I tell you what,
Oh,
if anyone was going to
man.
take her down, it was going to be the question. And Maddie and Megan Bob, you guys put up such an amazing defense of the question. That was very impressive.
Oh man.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, she is super hot. So.
If it was any question that Kid and I were going to be going up against, I'm glad it's not Vic Sage.
Indeed.
I know. Are you kidding me? I was all ready for like a Vic Sage fight. I am such a huge question fan. Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna let that one go.
Okay, all right.
I like Renee Montoya, though.
Oh, I love Renee Montoya. It's just she doesn't have as much to draw from as Vic Sage does. I mean, there's like...
Vic Sage has a lot of flaws, too.
Yes, oh my god, so many flaws, but he works through them every time. Okay, it's good.
The best depiction of Vic Sage was in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon when he openly admitted to digging through every member of the Justice League's trash. It was the best.
My personal favorite is
right.
when Huntress calls him and he's in this freezer and he opens up this container and he says, "I knew it. 33 flavors," and puts
That's
the
right.
lid back.
Oh, that cartoon is the best.
I want to just keep talking about comics, but I guess we have to finish
Oh,
now.
believe you me, Kit. That is an opportunity I will always look forward to. Maddie and Anton, thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys are always a pleasure to have on the show.
Thank you for having
you.
me.
Yeah, thank you for putting up
Thank
with
you,
this
guys.
clearly 5-state Skype
I
call.
know.
Yes.
I'm sorry for all the
Oh
delays.
my god.
Should I talk, or is this not going to be in
You
this
can talk.
recording? All right.
Oh my god, Colin, you're here too?
Oh, it's not Colin, 'tis a ghost.
She's the ghost of Christmas Colin. All right.
Sorry.
Over
I love
to
that
Twitter thanks. God, we have so many thanks. We're so backed up on thanks. So I'm going to just say I can't read off the names of everyone that retweeted like a bunch of our last like few episodes.
But thanks to everyone that does so.
Yeah.
It's such a help for
Thanks
us.
so much. And also like the Tumblr rebloggers. Thank you so much. But some special mentions. The Politipop podcast mentioned that we helped them like start their own podcast. Now they didn't say how, but like
I mean, I certainly didn't do anything. I don't know about you guys.
because they're like kind of just a politics talk podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the presidential election lightning round. From
Oh yeah,
Christmas
that
too.
was it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just like, well, I mean, they have a podcast, so I mean,
it
we're
was
gonna
the
be
mayoral
better
election.
than that.
Maybe
Like,
it was the mayoral election lightning round from the ice match. We
Could
don't
be.
know.
Could be.
Maybe.
I like Colin's theory that it's just like, oh man, anyone can do a podcast.
I guess they're letting anyone do them nowadays. Like,
We didn't know the bar was so low.
So
You
you're
guys can
welcome.
self-deprecate all you want. I'm awesome.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, fine. Except for Miles, who's amazing.
Thank you.
Miles, I'm deprecating all of this. This is not self-deprecation.
I mean, you can. I refuse to accept your deprecation, Colin.
Just everything asterisk Miles.
I am
not
the shit. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that.
Also, the Film Narc podcast has been live tweeting our episodes, so I don't think they're fully caught up yet, but I'm glad they're enjoying it so much.
Yeah, by the time this drops, they'll probably have been caught up. But
Maybe.
I've been enjoying reading their responses to certain moments in our past episodes.
Speaking of someone who's been just like mainlining our podcast, at a Sunny Boy on Twitter, like got through our entire back catalog in a month.
Ooh,
Shit.
Thank
Holy
you.
man.
Wow.
That
So
is-
more than one a day.
Do you just
That
like
is some highly concentrated bullshit.
He
Yeah.
has like scurvy now.
Wait, are you suggesting our podcast doesn't contain vitamin C?
I'm suggesting that it actively leaches it.
I mean, it definitely has a lot of vitamin B and S,
Yep.
which is a new vitamin that we created.
Since I left, there's been a lot less vitamin C, because that was my
That's
rap
true.
name, back when I was on the mean streets of Tucson.
Did you sing that song Graduation? Because I love that.
Also, the Indulgery, thank you very much, tweeted about the cage match to the podcast, How Did This Get Made? So, thank you.
Yeah.
That's really sweet of you.
Definitely like some more of those big podcast eyes on us.
Thank you for the shout out. Also, Cosplay Fiend tweeted that the cage match almost turned into a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, Become, and I believe Bob got it on that game.
I did.
Oh,
We almost agreed entirely. We only had to switch around a couple people.
I really love interacting with the peeps, and I really hope I get to meet all of you someday. It's awesome. Cosplay Fiend also made a Dante meme, so thank you.
Yeah, it was real good.
Oh.
If anyone wants to see that, it's on the Tumblr, Smash Fiction Podcast. And then the last Twitter thingy, Grayson Leal tweeted about an arm cannon he made.
I'm pretty sure it's just a Roman candle.
It looks like a firework that is maybe meant to attach to your arm. I don't know.
Oh,
I hope it is.
That's asking for all the problems.
I hope it's operated sober only, please.
He was tweeting that about Morden Solus in
Yes,
particular.
Hashtag Warden Solus.
Was that his incinerate?
I think so. I think so.
Hopefully it also misses all the time.
Right.
I mean, it's a Roman cannon. Okay, so over to Tumblr. By Fortune Fire, our beloved, reblogged the cage match and said really sweet things. Basically saying that, they've been like really depressed and anxious for a while, but what always helps, no matter what, motherfucking Smash Fiction. They've never let me down once, so that's really, really touching. I'm glad. I'm glad we can still make you smile. We're there for your rainy days.
Happy to be those guys and girls.
I think a lot of people, probably some other people in this recording right now, have had to deal with depression and stuff like that from time to time, and I'm one who's had to deal with that before myself. So I just want to say, you can't necessarily see an end to it when you're in it, but if you're out there, if you're feeling depressed, I want to let you know it doesn't seem like there can be any other way when you're in it, but you can get out of it, and I've been in it, and now I'm out of it, and I'm so glad I'm out of it. And it can happen. For me, it was medication that did it. It's different things for different people, but good luck getting through it. Don't lose hope. There are people out there that love you. Your brain is dumb. It's telling you things that aren't true, and just don't lose hope. Keep fighting, because it's a beautiful world, and you can find a lot of good stuff in it if you keep on fighting.
Oh, thank you, Colin Ghost. That was really beautiful.
You guys bring just as much light into our lives as however much we end up bringing into yours, because it's great hearing from all of you.
I love you guys almost as much as I love booze.
Oh my God. High praise indeed.
No.
Oh my God.
So I don't think they listen to us, but big fucking thank you to System Mastery.
Yeah.
For mentioning
our
podcast on their podcast.
Yeah, Kid and I met up with those guys in Los Angeles. It'll be about 2 months ago by the time this hits. And they were super cool guys. We had a really good time with them. I gave them a bunch of terrible RPGs I've had for a while so that they could talk about it on their show. And they were kind enough to talk about us for a bit. So thanks to them.
Listen to them for hilarious shitty movie reviews and crazy ass old RPG reviews.
Yeah,
they're so funny.
They're great.
Yeah. Last two things. We were on the Sup Nerds podcast, so if you want to listen to us discuss how Kevin Spacey would kill us a la Seven, we talk about that. We talk about so terrible would you rather that Colin gave us on a long road trip, and it basically devolves into.
That's great.
I'm not. No,
It's terrible.
Just listen.
That again.
It's one of the most fun podcasts I was on.
But by the time this episode drops, that episode will be a few weeks old. It's their New Year's episode is the one that we were on.
And lastly, I must submit a pheasant redaction. Miles, I looked into it. So let it be said that I'm totally okay with taking back what I've said upon researching. So you're right. Falco's supposed to be a pheasant according to the creator.
Yes!
What?
And I looked into the different Asian pheasants. Yes, yeah. He look at their heads. That is Falco. Now, why name it Falco? We'll never know. But he is a pheasant.
I guess because Pheasanto doesn't sound as cool.
It sounds like amazing cereal.
Yeah.
Fezzy.
Oh.
Maybe his real name is Pheasanto, like that's his birth name, and he thought it sounded dumb, so he like renamed himself Falco, and that's like the nickname he gave himself because he thinks it's cooler to be a falcon than a pheasant.
I am so
That is-
vindicated
I
right now.
mean-
Hashtag he's a pheasant. Let's get it trending on Twitter.
You're really making up for your bacteria thing back in Dread versus V, Miles.
Yeah, I know.
We have a new review on iTunes.
Yes.
This one comes from Mia Rose 10,001. The title is Hysterical Hijinks. Very short and sweet. Simply says, I love this show. The hosts are funny and wonderful to listen to. The battles are interesting, nerdy, and intelligent. Do yourself a favor and listen to this hilarity ensue. So thank you to Mia Rose and to everyone who leaves us a review. It really helps us get seen by other
Hell
people.
Yeah, if you like the podcast, write a review, tell a friend. It really helps. It really does.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Tell an enemy. We're not picky.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Smash Fiction. Next week we have a wire fu battle between Morpheus from The Matrix and Limu Bai from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his work at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow the Smash Fiction Podcast on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for us on Facebook and Tumblr.
Subscribe on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
No. I just
Maddie
I
ships,
just want them to make
Bob
out.
ships everything. Sorry.
I do.
Maddie ships
and I
everything
just-
too.
I know. That's why I wrote that line, because I was like, her, and then they made out.
All right, everyone, mark time. This is the point at which Bob has begun to ship the characters, slightly earlier than usual, but certainly within the normal range.
Mystique and Montoya, I could definitely see that happening, actually.
For sure.
Oh, you know Mystique is coming on to Montoya at some point. That's what
I'd
she
read
do.
that
That's how
comic.
she's gonna escape.
I would read that pornographic comic.
Alan Moore, get on it.
Oh, no.
Good God. Alan Moore, stay away.
Stay away. He's going to make everyone